everyone, me again. Today's video is going to be makeup hacks for pale skin. I'm not a makeup artist myself, I am just a makeup hoarder who just makes videos and puts them on the internet, but I do have pale skin and I do wear makeup a lot. I obviously have quite a lot of it because I have a YouTube channel all about makeup. These are just a few tips to help you make your current makeup work better for your skin tone. So go and get your snack, go and get your cup of tea, and let's get started. The first thing that I really wanted to talk about was colour correcting. I feel like if you've got very pale skin, colour correctors can really help you out. Personally, I have a lot of skin redness and I have quite blue under eye circles, and I find that because my skin is so fair that the areas of discoloration really stand out in comparison because they are quite a bit darker. So having a palette like this one from NYX is really helpful. Something like this will just help you fix all the areas of discoloration on your face before you apply foundation. I'm wearing this pink one and this orange one mixed together underneath my eyes, and I found that that has really counteracted the blue tone underneath there and just kind of lifted that whole area. I don't like to wear a lot of regular concealer under my eyes because I don't want to cover up my freckles, and of course I've got quite a bit of this green concealer all around my cheeks and jaw, just where my areas of redness are most prominent as well. So yeah, if you're anything like me and you find that your areas of discoloration really stand out against your fair skin, grab yourself some colour correctors. You can get them in a palette like this one, or you can get little colour correcting sticks from brands like Max Factor. I've even seen them in Primark. I'm going to leave a couple of the ones that I've used in the description box below. Everything that I talk about is going to be in the description box below, by the way, so if you do want to grab any of this stuff, it's all going to be down there. If you've seen any of my foundation reviews on this channel, you'll know that one of my most common complaints about foundation is that they're too dark for me, or they're too orange, or that they oxidize and end up being much darker than my skin tone, even though I always pick up the palest shade. A lot of the times when I'm swatching something in store, the lighting will be different to natural daylight and something will look like it matches me, and obviously when I get home and try it on myself, I find that actually it doesn't. So I have a couple of different things that can help with that. First of all, there's white foundation. So you can buy pure white foundation and mix it with your current foundation that's maybe a bit too dark. I've got one from Stargazer, but there are actually a few on the market at the moment, and a lot of brands actually have foundation mixers as well. So this is my one from MUA. This is the one that I use the most. It's called Lightening Warm, and you might be able to see, but it's not quite a pure white. It's got a little hint of yellow to it, and this can be really useful because a lot of the time the foundation won't just be too dark for me, it will also have the wrong undertone. So if something is too dark and too pink, I can just mix in a bit of this. From time to time, I also really like mixing in something like the NYX Illuminating primer as well. So this primer is like a complete white, but it's very shimmery. It's got a bit of a silver reflex to it. So this will not only lighten a foundation because it's quite bright, but it will also give it more of a glow, and it can also sheer it out a bit as well. So if you're like me and you've got a drawer full of foundations that aren't quite the right shade for you, or if you've got a foundation where you really like the formula but maybe the shade isn't quite right, once you mix it with something else, it will be the right shade. You can also get white concealers as well. So this one is from Freedom, which is discontinued now, but Revolution Beauty, who are basically the same company, actually have another white foundation now. They have one of their Conceal and Define concealers in a white shade, which is £4. But yeah, white concealers just work in exactly the same way as the white foundation. This can be really handy for me because most of the time when I try concealer, it's not light enough to actually brighten up my face. You know how you always see like Instagrammers and YouTubers use a lighter concealer to just kind of brighten up, highlight and sort of sculpt their face? I can't really do that because there isn't a concealer light enough for that on the market. But I can mix whatever concealer I am using with this, and that will do pretty much the same thing. If you have pale skin, you definitely need to get a white foundation and a complete white concealer. They will really come in handy. When you've got all your base product down and you're ready to set your face, sometimes it can be really difficult to find a setting powder that's actually pale enough for you, especially one that's pale enough to go underneath your eyes. So what I like to do is I will get any eyeshadow palette that has a kind of matte white colour, and I will just use that eyeshadow to go underneath my eyes. that will really brighten up that whole area. And it's great if you're traveling as well, because you don't need to bring an extra product with you if you make sure that there's one in your eyeshadow. Translucent setting powders are fantastic as well. They have no colour to them, so if you're really sick of trying powders and finding that they make you look a bit orange, or if they're just too dark, grab a translucent powder, especially the ones that look completely white in the pan like this. Then you know that they're not going to make your makeup look darker. This one is from MUA. I really like it because of the packaging. I can just throw this in my bag. It's got a mirror in there. It's great for on the go. If you do have a setting powder hanging around that is way too dark for you, like it just looks a few shades too dark, then you can maybe use that to sculpt your face, or you can take it down your neck. If you're like me and your neck is paler than your face, then you can just use it for your neck to kind of bring everything together. There's always a use for your products, even if it's not what they're intended for. You can always make something work. You can always use up a product if you are trying to use something up for a project pan, or maybe you just want to get the most out of what you've already got instead of buying new stuff. There's always a use for something. So the next thing I want to talk about is bronzer. I didn't actually start wearing bronzer until a couple of years ago because I just could not make it work. I didn't think it could work for pale skin like mine, and I also thought that because I've got like orange tones in my hair, that if I had orange tones on my face it would just kind of look a bit weird. So I was really scared of finding a way to make it work. And also a lot of bronzers on the high street, I found they just looked like they'd be way too dark for me. I wasn't even sure how I was supposed to wear them. So my tip for you, even if you've got a bronzer that looks way too dark for you, try applying it with a stippling brush. So I love the Duo-Fibre brushes from Real Techniques. I use this smaller one quite a lot. This is the Duo-Fibre contour brush. I use this all the time for my bronzer and for my blusher because it's designed to pick up product very sparingly, and that's exactly what you want when you're pale. If a bronzer is too dark for you, then the last thing you want is to get quite a lot of it on your brush and just be piling it on your face. It's so much easier to just get your stippling brush, get it on the bronzer and sort of dab it in the pan, not like swirling it. Don't pick up loads and loads of product. Just get a little bit on there and then tap off the excess. You can even just get the bulk of the colour off on the back of your hand like that if it's a really intense bronzer. But yeah, the trick is to just apply it sparingly. I always like to start out on the back here and then I'll sort of blend it to the front. That way if I do accidentally get a big bulk of dark orange bronzer on my face, it's kind of going near the back where people won't see it as much, and it's much easier to blend forward. That's the same trick that I have for blush as well. So when I first bought this, I thought that this blush here looked absolutely beautiful, but I did also think that I might not be able to make it work because it's quite dark. It's quite a pigmented blusher, but again, just use a stippling brush like this one. Mine's a bit filthy because I use this all the time, please don't judge me. But yeah, it's exactly the same technique. Just dab the product, make sure you're not putting on too much and just kind of work it in really slowly. Personally, I am very subtle with my blush and my bronzer because I know how easy it is to go overboard. I actually did this completely by accident when I was putting on my makeup for this video. I did get a patch of pink on my cheek and I wasn't quite sure what to do. Just take the brush with your foundation, just dab it over the offending area, and of course you can smooth everything out with your powder brush afterwards as well. So whatever brush you were using to apply your powder all over your face, just take that, blend it all over the areas where you've put blush and bronzer and just fuse everything together and just soften it out. I also want to talk about contour as well. I feel like contour is something that the drugstore doesn't really get right apart from Revolution Beauty. All other companies I've seen release contour products, they just release it with kind of 1 or 2 skin tones in mind, and a lot of them really don't work for fair skin or people on the other end of the spectrum who have really dark skin as well. Everything's kind of designed for the people in between. So a lot of the times I will see contour kits on the high street that will have maybe a shade like that to contour with. Now that's not going to work if you're super pale, that's ridiculous. This set though by Revolution Beauty is really nice. I think this was about £7 or £8. It's their powder contour kit in Fair. I bought this purely for that contour shade right there and it's absolutely perfect. I love it. But if you do have a shade like that one in your collection and you're really struggling to make it work, even when you use a stippling brush and you blend and you blend and you blend, maybe don't use it as a contour, maybe just use this on your eyes. I actually used this as eyeshadow today and it made a really beautiful smoky look. I absolutely love it. This is also a really good tip if you've got a bronzer that's just way too orange, way too dark, that you cannot make it work even with a stippling brush. Just use it on your eyes, put it all in the crease, smoke it out. It looks beautiful. And then in terms of products to actually use as your contour, sometimes you have to get a bit creative. You're basically looking for a kind of taupe coloured powder product, but that doesn't have to be something that actually says contour on it. For example, the NYX blush in the shade Taupe. This wasn't designed to be a contour, but it is the absolute perfect ashy colour to use as a contour. I love this. I take it travelling with me. It's perfect. And another thing that I really love to use as a contour is a kind of lighter coloured eyebrow powder. Again, these are always very cool toned. I find a lot of contour products on the market are just way too warm and very difficult to make them work. Eyebrow powders, however, are always very ashy. They're always quite cool toned. This one's from Primark. It's incredibly pigmented. I actually discovered this by accident ages ago because I had an eyebrow powder, but I hate doing my eyebrows with powder. I much prefer a pencil, and I was trying to think of a way to use it up, so it ended up being my contour product and I completely used it up. But yeah, that's a really good trick if you don't have a contour that you think works for you, but you do have an eyebrow powder somewhere. Highlighters. Highlighters are a pain in the arse if you have pale skin. It is so hard to find one that's actually lighter than your skin tone. Most of the time they will be the same kind of shade as your skin tone, if not darker. And if you're anything like me, if you're a serious makeup hoarder, you've probably got a whole drawer full of highlighters that are just too dark for you, that just don't work for what you want them to do. But there are other ways that you can wear these products. For example, this highlighter from Primark. This is obviously way too dark for me to use as a highlighter. This is a really beautiful shimmery pink kind of colour. It's absolutely stunning. But obviously it's not a highlighter on me. It'll be a beautiful highlighter on deeper skin tones, but just not for me personally. So I like to use this product as either a blush or a blush topper because it is that perfect colour for that. This Topshop highlighter in Horizon. This is a present from a friend who was having a clear out and didn't want this product anymore. Obviously, this is not a highlighter on me, this is far too dark, but it is an absolutely stunning eyeshadow, and that's how I use it. Even if you've got cream highlighters that don't quite work, like I've got the Benefit What's Up here, and you'll see that this just looks very, very golden when it's on my skin tone. But what I can do with this is I can just take whatever cream blush I have and I can mix them together. And this will just give any of my cream blushes a really beautiful glow. And if you want a product that will really highlight your skin, that will really stand out just like it does when Instagrammers and YouTubers do their makeup, then I would have a rummage for your collection and look for a really pearly, a really shimmery kind of white eyeshadow. I used this one today and it worked perfectly. And again, if you're traveling, this is brilliant because you don't have to take as much crap with you. But yeah, you don't have to go out and search for a brand new highlighter. Have a rummage through your collection and see if you've got a frosty white eyeshadow and see if that will do the trick. I don't personally wear eyeliner every single day because I'm far too lazy, but when I do, I tend to steer away from black. I just find that it looks a bit too dramatic against my fair skin. Now for some people, black eyeliner looks absolutely sensational. It really suits them. And again, this is a rule that I break quite a lot. You don't have to follow all of these tips to a T. But personally, whenever I do apply eyeliner, I'll tend to go for colours like these. So I've got a taupe one here from H&M and I've got a brown one from Barry M, which I really like. And I find that a brown or a taupe or a dark purple kind of a eyeliner will just be a lot softer. It just won't look as harsh. Again, black eyeliner can be absolutely beautiful if that's the look that you're going for, but for an everyday basis, I personally just like brown, taupe, or even grey eyeliner just a little bit more. That's actually exactly the same for mascara as well. I love a brown mascara on an everyday basis. I haven't got brown mascara on today because this eyeshadow ended up being a lot more smoky than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't feel like brown mascara would work with this look. Again, that's a rule that a lot of people like to break. A lot of people with very pale skin love to wear black mascara and it always looks amazing, so that's not something that I do all the time, but definitely give it a try even if you're not pale, because sometimes it looks really beautiful. A lot of the time lipsticks can look really dramatic on me even if they're not supposed to. Nude colours are a complete no. I haven't found one that doesn't make me look like a corpse just yet, so I steer away from them. I tend to go for the mid-tones, the kind of pinky brown, the mauve colours. They're my favourite ones to go for. But I do find that sometimes they can really stand out against my fair skin, and that can look really beautiful, but a lot of the time I want the focus to be on the eyes and not on the lips. So if I want a softer look on the lips, I will just kind of dab on the lipstick instead of applying it like full on from the bullet. I'll just kind of dab it on a bit and then rub my lips together. Sometimes you can put a bit of clear lip balm over the top and kind of rub it in to make more of a stain kind of a thing instead of a full-on lip effect. Again, that will completely depend on what look you're going for. That's not something I do every single time I put my makeup on. But yeah, I thought I'd throw that in because that is something that I do all the time. And that's it. Those are all my makeup hacks for pale skin. If you have fair skin, then leave your favourite hacks in the comment section below so that we can all read them. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. It would be lovely to have you back. And I will see you again very soon. Bye.